Going to the media now, there's been a whole slate of layoffs at major media companies in recent weeks. And rather than tell you about it or read something about it, I will let Taylor Lorenz, who's the Washington Post propagandist, one of their many propagandists they have on the payroll. She recorded a video very, very distraught and upset about the state of the media now and how they're all losing their jobs. And let's listen to her.
The entire journalism industry is basically in a free fall. Today, the Los Angeles Times laid off 115 employees. They wiped out their entire DC bureau in an election year. They laid off pretty much all of their sports teams. They killed their entire tech and business section. They laid off breaking news writers, social media editors. The list goes on. But what's really dark is this is just the latest in months and months and months of layoffs in the media industry. In fact, tens of thousands of journalists have been laid off in the past year. Major media companies like BuzzFeed News have completely shuttered their news operations. Time magazine also just laid off a ton of people, and Sports Illustrated basically shut down last week. Pretty much the entire digital media ecosystem that myself and a lot of other millennial journalists came up in has been completely hollowed out. And it's not just digital media sites. Local news has been obliterated. The newspaper industry is cratering. Radio is essentially dead aside from NPR, which has been gutted. Meanwhile, hundreds of workers at Condé Nast, the parent company of pretty much every major magazine from GQ to Vogue to The New Yorker to Vanity Fair, are on strike because they're also facing impending layoffs. Even mainstream national media outlets owned by billionaires like The Washington Post, where I work, and The Atlantic, where I used to work, have done layoffs. If you're a young journalist today, there's almost no on-ramp to traditional journalism. Even if you do get a job, journalists' salaries have been stagnant and even declined. And by the way, we don't make that much to begin with. I don't think people understand how bad the world would be without journalists.
The great thing about this is that she's saying all this like it's a bad thing, and she wants us to be upset, but everyone is receiving it as glorious news. So this is like she's basically telling us that it's Christmas morning, but she wants us to be sad about it. And so there's something's being lost in translation there, because unfortunately, like pretty much everybody else, I can't weep for the poor journalists. I can't feel sorry for them. Feeling sorry for a journalist, it's like feeling sorry for a tick that you just pulled off of your dog's ear. Like, it's not, I couldn't even experience that emotion if I wanted to. I just have no sympathy to give here. So why is corporate media falling apart? Well, there are two reasons. It's not just the reason that conservatives will immediately point to, although there is that too. That is the first reason, that the fact that the journalism profession has completely discredited itself. It has unabashedly become a form of left-wing advocacy. And on the right, we've been saying this forever, to the point that it just becomes background noise. But this is what we were talking about. This is there are many consequences of that. And the culture has experienced the consequences of the journalism profession becoming nothing but pretty much left-wing activism. A lot of consequences. But downstream, far less severe, downstream of all that is like eventually the journalism profession itself starts to reap those consequences. And so for years and years and years, when those of us on the right were saying the media is hopeless, like to call it biased is doesn't capture the problem at this point. So far beyond bias, this is just straight up left-wing advocacy, with no pretension of being anything else. And we've been saying that, and the people in the media like Taylor Lorenz have been ignoring us and laughing at us and all that. And well, here you go. This is what happens. Now you're all losing your jobs. Now you're all broke and you're losing your jobs. And these entire once prestigious, storied companies and outlets and publications are going under. And this is a big reason why. Why? And also one of the reasons why we feel so okay with gloating about it, because usually when people lose their jobs, generally speaking, people lose their jobs. I'm not going to gloat about it. I'm not happy about it. I don't like to see people lose their jobs. But there are some exceptions, okay? Like if I hear that an abortion clinic shut down and everybody lost their job, I'm very happy. And if you worked at an abortion clinic and you lost your job and now you are personally bankrupt. I'm happy about that. You deserve it. That's justice. I'm very happy about it. You worked at an abortion clinic, you lost your job, and now you're out on the street homeless. I am happy. You deserve that. That's justice. That, you know, the suffering you are feeling, you deserve it as justice. Keeping your windshields clean is always a pain, especially in the winter. Dirt and salt pile up and washer fluid just can't get the job done. That's where my friends at Windshield Wow come in to save the day. Windshield Wow is an innovative windshield cleaning device that uses two magnetic cleaning paddles, one on one side and one on the other, on the inside of your car, to clean both sides of your windshield, all from the outside. All you do is push around the outside paddle and the inside follows automatically, leaving your windshield squeaky clean. I personally own a Windshield Wow. This is one of the best products for my car windshield. Being able to clean both the front and the inside window at the same time is an absolute game changer. Wish I had one of these years ago. The Windshield Wow applies firm cleaning pressure and is super thin to get into those tight dashboard areas. So what are you waiting for? Go to windshieldwow.com, use code Walsh at checkout for a special discount. That's windshieldwow.com and use code Walsh. Now, the journalism industry is not quite as bad as that, but it is still, many of these people are just, they have no integrity. They're very bad people. And on top of that, you know, they have in the media destroyed the lives of anyone they deem an enemy, even just normal people like civilians who, for whatever reason, find themselves in the left's crosshairs and they get destroyed. That's a lot of when we talk about cancel culture. That's a lot of what we're talking about. And usually the more high-profile sort of victims of cancel culture are the ones who get the attention. There's a lot of other people. We talk about cancel culture. We're talking about a lot of times just normal people who, for whatever reason, end up trending on social media or whatever it is. The media jumps in and tries to ruin them. And then the very people who do that, they lose their jobs. And what, we're supposed to not gloat about it? It's like, you deserve to lose your job. You're a very bad person. You have no integrity. You have delighted in your cruelty towards other people. And now you lost your job. So why are these companies dying? Nobody trusts them. Nobody likes them. Nobody wants to hear from them. And you are a business that runs on trust. Trust is your product, really. It's what you're selling. And if you don't have it, if nobody trusts you, then it's over. And, you know, I guess you could say that that's basically true of every industry. Every industry, fundamentally, is really selling trust. You have to trust whatever it is they're selling, whatever it is they're actually selling. It's like they're all based in trust. People have to trust. If you're an architect who makes bridges, and next thing you know, bridges are falling apart all over the country, nobody trusts the bridge makers anymore, and then your business is going to die. The only difference is that we need bridges, whereas we do not need what Taylor Lorenz provides. And that kind of goes to the other big problem for the media, which is oversaturation, extreme oversaturation. This is a problem we all deal with. You know, everybody in media deals with it. And you know, I'm in media too. I do think it's funny when people in conservative media talk about media like they aren't in the media themselves. I mean, there is a distinction where, you know, here, like there's the left-wing corporate press, which we are not. But yeah, we are in the media business, and so while we are not left-wing propagandists who delight in destroying and you know, normal people who did nothing wrong, we're still in the media. So we do deal with the second problem, which is the oversaturation problem. There's so much media. All of our lives are dominated by media all the time. People are ingesting media basically every waking second of the day, which means that the media business has never been wider, right? But it's also never been more shallow. And what I mean by that is that there's never been more people in the media business. There have probably never been more companies, you know, media companies and people. But at the same time, the value of the content has also never been more diminished. So that even if you don't have the massive trust issue that the left-wing press has, the other problem is that for so many people in media, whatever you're doing can be found a million other places. Like, people blame Sports Illustrated's collapse on its wokeness, and that's fair. Like, that definitely had a lot to do with it. But also, who needs Sports Illustrated anyway? Like, what do they do that isn't being done just as well in so many other places? 10 years ago or so, I was a pretty avid reader of the Sports Illustrated website. I would go there all the time. But I bailed out long before they started putting trans and morbidly obese people in their swimsuit edition or whatever. I stopped reading it long before that because, if I want to get people's sports takes, I can go to Twitter or I can go to YouTube or any of 100 sports blogs. Everything gets drowned. Everything is being drowned by everything else. What's the solution? Well, I hope the solution is to create meaningful, high-quality content and offer unique, interesting analysis and perspective that you can't get a million other places. The fact is that 95% of media content is interchangeable and indistinguishable. Most of it can be replaced by AI, and that's already happening. A lot of it already has been. You just don't know it when you read the articles. Even most of the commentary that you hear from corporate media outlets or whatever, most of the commentary could be replicated by a mildly advanced chatbot. Which means that if you're in the business, if you're in my business, you need to be in that 5% to have any job security at all. I like to think we're in the 5%. That's my goal anyway. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.